Hey guys, welcome to another Zebra tutorial, is what I would normally say, but today I want to look into Bazille, a synth that has been in the making for a very long time by U-he, and I think I downloaded it yesterday and I think it's really interesting and I really liked it. So I made some ideas with it. I already used it in my song. It's this region here. I'll make it a nice color for you. Red, and this region. So I'll just play you the song. If you don't want to wait for this part, you have to skip, I think, about 40 seconds. But I thought it would be nice to hear it in context. Slow logic, sorry. Yeah. I was expecting that, but here it is again on the beat. I don't know why, but I really like the sound of it. It's this part. I've cut them out. And it's funny because it's meant to be sort of like a modular synth. It has to sort of sound like a modular synth as well, I think. And these parts are actually of the real modular synth that I own. So these greens one. And I think they really they sound very good together. So without further ado, I'll open up the synth. It was this patch that I bounced. This is what the mighty synth looks like, and it might look a little bit overwhelming in the beginning, and maybe it is, but I'm gonna try to talk you through it. So I'm not gonna start with this patch, we're just gonna start from scratch. Open up a new one here, and I'll choose the initialized patch, which sounds like this, just a sine wave. And well, first let's look at the interface. We have 4 oscillators. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then to the left and to the right we have 2 LFOs. But the oscillators can also be used as an LFO. Here we have our envelopes at the bottom. Here we have a very awesome sequencer, and our filter section is in the middle. And then we have this multiplex with it, which is basically an advanced mixer to mix different oscillators and all that stuff together. And then we have these tabs here with the effects and the patches, but I don't know if we're gonna look into that today. But let's start with the first oscillator. You can see that the output here, we have these arrows here, and they represent the signal flow. And you can see that the very last output here, which is this red box circle, is going through out 1 to the volume. So this is basically going through the amp, and it's connected with this cable. I can double click here to delete the cable, and then I don't have any sound anymore. So I kind of want that there. And you can see that we have 2 inputs here on the out one. It doesn't matter which one I use. And we have the volume here. So now we have a very simple patch where the basic oscillator that's just playing a sine wave is sent through one of the 2 outputs. And the oscillator is I think the most advanced part of this synthesizer. And we have all these orange boxes, and when you click on one of them you get different options. This one, for example, is the tuning, and you can set the tuning to semitones, to overtones, basically harmonics, undertones, subharmonics, hertz, so just the frequency, the speed, and clocked hertz, which is sort of synced to your MIDI. And the oscillator is always going to be a sine wave. There's no place where you choose a different wave for that sine, but we can manipulate that sine wave with different waves. So for example, we have this box here, and it says saw, and this is the phase distortion. And when we phase distort the sine wave with a saw wave, you can see it on the oscilloscope here that it slowly turns to a saw wave. And we have 2 different waves that we can choose here to manipulate the original sine wave. So that is basically FM. We can, now the second box is set to same, so this is also going to be a saw wave, but we can also choose a square. And now you can see in the wave that it's combining a saw and a square. And that combining, that sort of algorithm, that is set by the this box here where it now says cosine. I can choose cosine, I can choose step map 1 and step map 2. And these step maps, you can find them on the effects page. I can change this. Let's see, now it's set to step map 2, let's set it to 1. And you can see that it's playing through them, and each time I trigger a new note, it's going to the next setting. So now it's at this red one, and when I press a note again, it will go to this one that's down, and then up again. And you can also use these for modulation, but we're gonna look into that later, maybe. So that is how we build our basic wave, and we can choose different combinations here. But let's say we want to modulate this knob. To modulate the knob, similar as in Zebra, we have an empty knob next to that, which is defining the modulation amount. So we have this knob right here, and you can see the arrow to the PD and the gray circle here. And gray circles are always inputs, and red circles are always outputs. So now what we have to do is we have to find a modulation source that we want to use to modulate this phase distortion. So for the sake of simplicity, let's choose this LFO, and we drag a cable from the output to the input of this modulation knob. And now nothing is gonna happen until I set the amount here. And then I have to disable this mod wheel assignment. And then we hear our modulation, and we can speed that up with the LFO speed here. And here next to the LFO speed we have another knob which says rate mod, and this one is controlling the rate of the LFO again. So for example, we could set this to pressure, which will be aftertouch, and then give it a mount, and then when we press the key harder, the LFO will speed up. So that's how that works. And then we have this other function here, which is fractalize, and it fractalizes the wave that might look familiar from the zebra oscillator effects. And this one again is for the modulation amount, and this one is just the normal amount. And we have these MIDI options here, and we can send the pressure to the fractalize amount, and the pressure, that is the aftertouch, and then we give it some amount, and then again when we press the key harder, it will basically do this for us. So I'm now playing my keyboard and pressing down on a note, and I can connect that same one to the phase distortion. I can set it to the tuning if I want. And we can double click a cable to remove it again. And I'm gonna disable the reverb for now in the effects section. So this is a very basic patch and also a little bit boring. So what can we do with it? Well, we can send it, this doesn't have to go to the main output immediately. We can also send it through a filter with the inputs here. And now it's going through filter 1, and then we can choose an output from one of these filters. So we have a low pass 12 dB, 6 dB, and we can send those to the output. We could also send those to one of the mixer channels. So let's choose a low pass and send it to the mixer, and we can use several filters. So let's choose a band pass and send it to the other channel, and then the output here, which is red, we send that one to the volume. So now it's going through the filter first, and then these knobs again are for the modulation amount. So let's set the pressure to that, give it some amount, lower the cutoff, or we can use our LFO. So that is all pretty cool. And then we can use the second oscillator, for example, to ring modulate the these inputs, and that's gonna give a very cool sound in most cases. And we can change this semitone to clocked, for example. And we can try hertz. And we set this oscillator a little bit slower to 1.8. Oh, I like that. And then here we set the amount of the signal that's going through. So that is how to set up a basic patch. And if I delete these cables again, I want to try a different thing, because oh, I have to click on the output to delete them. Sorry, I just got this in. It is a bit confusing in the beginning, but I think you're gonna get used to it pretty quickly. The output to the main volume. Now we have our normal oscillator again. And now let's say we want to use this sequencer. I think this sequencer is really the most awesome thing of this whole synth, because it's a morphable sequencer. And I'll show you what I mean in a second. First, I'm gonna connect the output of the sequencer to the course here, which is the tuning modulation, and this is set to semitone, so that's good. and then we set it to 12, so we have a range of 1 octave. And then we can drag these sliders. And then we get a basic arpeggiator. And the slider values, these are, you can see in the window right here that at the top it's 100. So I haven't figured out how to set it so that it syncs to semitones. Maybe that's not possible because it is a modular synth after all, and in most cases modular synths don't care about about all that stuff. So for now, what we have to do if we want to make a melody is it's 100 and our melody is 12 semitones, so we have to divide 100 by 12, and we get 8.3, and then 8.3, that is gonna be 1 semitone. So we can try that here and set this to 8.3. There we go. And then so 6 would, sorry, 2 semitones would be 16.6. And doesn't matter if you're a little bit off because that's the sound that you want. That's the modular sound. 16.6. And then 3 semitones would be close to 24. I don't want this tone, so I'm gonna set that to 24 as well. 24, we can hold shift to get precise increments. But the really cool thing about this is that you can morph into different sequencers. So I can have one melody here, we can have another melody here, and on the third step we can go all down. And now we can rotate this knob, and if you hold the key, it's gonna rotate between those different versions, and I can hook up the aftertouch to that, and we'll give it an amount of 2, and that means that it's gonna go up to the third slot because 1 is an amount of 0. So now we click on that first step, and then press the key harder, and then it's gonna sort of modulate between them. And I have a patch already with that in working. And you can hear how cool that can sound and how you can make great effects. I think I have another one still. I can try it here, for example, this patch. I can go to the second slot and then set these down, and then go to the third slot and set these up just pretty randomly, and then we connect the pressure to the modulation amount, and we set the rotate to 2. Oh, I think it's so awesome. Let's see what else have we got here. This is just me messing around, but I discovered that you can make great lead sounds, great arpeggiators, but also great bass sounds. I thought this one was pretty cool. Sounds very gritty. This one sounds very modular. So yeah, those are my first impressions of the synth. I just want to show you one cool trick that you can mess around with. We initialize a patch and we have oscillator 1 is going to the main out. Sounds very beautiful. And then we want to use the sample and hold and send it to the tuning of oscillator 1, give it an amount of 12. And then we send the noise. We have two noise modules here, white and pink noise. And they just send noise all the time. We send it to the sample and hold, and we trigger that with the LFO. And a sample and hold module basically holds the signal for a certain amount of time, and then freezes it, and then sends it out again. And it's gonna sound a little bit like a pretty random arpeggiator. And LFO1 is, I think, by default assigned to the vibrato, so we're gonna not use that. And now let's hear what it sounds like. No, that's pretty cool. That's modular. I do want to disable the delay and set the mix down on the reverb. Excellent reverb, by the way. And then use a little bit of the phase distortion. So yeah, that's one of the tricks, and now you could send it through a filter and then send the output, for example a high pass, to the VCA, and then you can modulate that again with the pressure amount. Oh, this is so cool. I can do this for hours. And I did, actually. But yeah, that's all I got time for today. Next week, I promise I'll give you a zebra tutorial again, but I just want to show you this because I think it's really awesome and innovative, and you can download it now. You can download a beta version for free and see if you like it. And I think you will, but you're gonna have to spend some time with it because especially this oscillator section is quite complicated, and if you never worked with this modular system where you have to link all modules, then that's also something you can spend some time on learning. But if you already work with the Moog modular or the ARP 2600, this should be all this should be fairly familiar to you. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.